After the call on Yahoo Finance starts right now, Brad Smith here alongside Diane King Hall, and the earnings call for Apple just ended.
Yes.
And of all the King's tickers and all the King's Yahoo Finance land, of course, Apple is back on top of the Yahoo Finance trending tickers again here. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, let's take a look at the Wi-Fi Interactive right now. We're taking a brief gander at Apple in extended hours. You're actually seeing it up right now by about 2%. And here is why that is significant. When this call started, shares were only fractionally in the green, barely holding on to some gains, Diane. So even as we think about what was said on the call and the themes that we take away from what Tim Cook or Tim Apple, whatever you're calling him in your neck of the woods, just called the shares up right now. Investors were pleased.
Yes, A is the letter today after the call for Apple. I mean, they came with it. May the force be with you. I guess the force was with Apple. I mean, they did better than expected. They came in, I love, even before we got to all the numbers. It was just the music there. It's all about the Apple ecosystem, starting with Apple Music, jumping into the call. So I like that, you know, their numbers, they did better than expected on earnings and revenue, especially when you compare that to the previous quarter, which wasn't so hot, you know. So they've definitely managed to put some of those issues from the previous quarter in the rear view mirror. Some of the takeaways that stood out to me is the dividends and buybacks. That shows that they have a strong balance sheet still. I mean, Apple is really, they are the king, you know. They are the iPhone. Their crown jewel is back. We know it's one of Warren Buffett's jewels now. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to hear more from Warren Buffett over the course of this weekend. And of course, maybe we should put the best pre-earnings call music poll to our Yahoo Finance followers on Twitter or something, because it's between Apple and Tesla. All that aside right now, let's get to our key takeaways here, even as we're thinking about the move that took place in after hours. Three big takeaways here. And this was one that I was listening in and kind of keyed into early on in the call. 975 million paid subscriptions across services right now. That services figure continues to grow. It's so important because this is a higher margin business or operation that Apple is able to see from the services that they offer, and makes the ecosystem as sticky as it is for customers to have a harder time disconnecting anything or everything in the devices if they decided to choose something else. And that services business is on a run rate to about $80 billion this year.
And to your point about services, I mean, they talked about the increase in services from the same time a year ago, and the spend has increased with people spending more within the App Store in that segment. So that is just showing strength, and they have to push more within the services sector, especially when you consider, like you and I have talked about, just the smartphone saturation that we've seen just in the general smartphone market. So sure, the iPhone did well in this period. They talked obviously a lot about the iPhone 14, 14 Pro, etc. But again, they are in a deeply penetrated market with regard to smartphones. So services definitely did well for them, right?
Absolutely. Next takeaway here. We talk about where they still continue to see some headwinds. The few things that I wrote down with regard to that was some of the macro headwinds and tough comps that they were seeing, particularly in iPad and Mac. We've talked about how PC demand would kind of rear its head across the tech earnings that we had seen this season, whether that be on the chipset side or whether that be on the actual manufacturer side for the devices too. And so that continued to ring through to the Apple earnings, and in the call that had to be acknowledged as well here. But still seeing a higher kind of install base among the iPads as I'm kind of looking around my notes here. But at the end of the day, it's really a question of where they will continue to see demand come back into the fray here.
Yeah, I mean, that stuck out to me too, with regard to one of my takeaways was they kept mentioning the macroeconomic headwinds. I mean, they mentioned that, I guess, about a dozen times in the call. So, you know, they mentioned that as the reason for the decline in revenue in some segments of the business. And, you know, so, and they talked obviously about the effect of foreign exchange. They have to talk about that, especially when you consider what a global company Apple is. So, you know, so though it was a strong quarter, they couched it with regard to the macroeconomic climate.
Right. Absolutely. And then the final takeaway that we got to get to here is the price action that was somewhat corollary to the dividend cadence that they talked about, saying that they're going to look at a dividend or updating dividend on an annualized basis. And I think that's the first time that I've heard them set out a specific cadence on the dividend. And perhaps Dan Howley, when he joins us in just a few minutes, can correct me if I'm wrong there. But for Apple to make a claim like that in tandem with the $90 billion authorization for share repurchases and that plan, I think that is amazingly significant. And the share is certainly reacting here in after hours as well, Diane.
Yeah, I mean, look, the market needed to see this, especially the market needed some reassurance today. Apple is a key factor in the growth that we've seen in the S&P 500 and the overall market. So people were looking just for some general reassurance, I mean, and for something to just prop up what we saw, today, especially with blue chips going negative for the year. So, that stood out to me. I mean, dividends always, buybacks always a strong growth factor that we want to look at when it comes to a company like Apple, and they're showing confidence in the company and confidence in their cash flow.
Absolutely. All right. So we got to play a quick clip from the call here because one of the huge portions or topics of conversation was expansion, growth, and which regions they're looking to grow in. Yes, it is India. So let's play a quick clip from the call.
Looking at the business in India, we did set a quarterly record and grew very strong double digits year over year. So it was quite a good quarter for us. Taking a step back, India is an incredibly exciting market. It's a major focus for us.
Okay, so there you heard it from Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, on the call, Diane, and both of us had flagged this one. I want to get your thoughts around it first.
I mean, so we know that he's been trying to push deeper with regard to India and other emerging markets. I mean, they mentioned Brazil earlier in the call as well, but India really stood out to me. He talked about just going there recently and the dynamic environment he encountered there. And he talked about more people entering the middle class there. And he said, the hope is, let me find if I took down a note of that. He said, I'm hoping we can convince some of them to buy an iPhone. So that stuck out to me. So certainly looking to increase their presence and their penetration in India.
Yeah, absolutely. So the growth of the middle class, as you noted, additionally here, it's at what average selling price or what model that they're looking for those sales to take place at. And it's important for us to remember here that while India is a huge growth opportunity for Apple, for a lot of the purchasing constituency, there's been a lot of growth in the secondary market of Apple products. Right. That's not necessarily a direct benefit that Apple would see, especially when it's trying to push new models into that region as well, that give them a premium or a more favorable margin there. So that is something worth watching. And they're trying to crack and maintain that 5% market share of the new phone sales in that market. So and that also, worth calling out from the side within this call.
Another thing that stood out to me was they talked about just kind of being in the Apple ecosystem. And I know we have a thought that we want to play really quickly as we just talk about all things Apple, because they talked about just every single device you have, whether we're talking about AirPods, iPhones, etc. So I know we have a little bit. I think we didn't get that thought, but he just talked about just the ability, and this is what keeps people in the Apple ecosystem, to jump from one device to the next. Because I started on this call, I was on my laptop, moved to my iPhone. So, I mean, I'm stuck in the Apple ecosystem. We got our AirPods in, Apple Watch. I'm stuck.
Yeah, exactly. I got my watch on too. And time is wearing thin on us here. So let's get to our vibe checks. Taking a look at this call and everything that we heard, honestly, without hesitation, I gave this a 5 out of 5. There were a few things that they need to do. They need to be transparent. They need to signal growth as well. And they also needed to acknowledge where the macroeconomic environment was hitting them. Of course, it wasn't all roses and daisies, but I think with what they needed to be transparent about and what they were seeing in the macro and how that's impacting certain products, I think the investors heard enough to be positively reactive, and we saw that in the share price action and tick by tick after hours here as well.
And I give it a 4 because, to your point, it wasn't all roses and daisies, and they're still not giving guidance. They stopped giving guidance back in 2020, blamed it on the pandemic, but pandemic, who's she? It's not around anymore. So it's a 4 for me.
All right, let's bring in Yahoo Finance's Dan Howley, see what he heard on the call that stuck out to him. Dan, DH, our tech designated hitter as well. Dan, bring it on home for us.
I got to say, the interesting thing is the lack of AI discussions. I think, one person I was following on Twitter said that Apple's not playing the big tech bingo card game where you have to throw AI into it. And, last week after hearing, Microsoft, Meta, Alphabet, all just gushing over AI, Apple only mentioned it once, and that was after they were asked a question. So, seeing a lot of that percolating on social media. Some people poo-pooing on Apple, saying that the slowdown in North American sales not great, and that Apple's heyday is over. We hear that constantly, that Apple's heyday is over, and then they go out and they beat expectations. So, whether or not there's a new huge product coming, we don't know. Maybe we'll see with WWDC coming up in June. Could be AR, VR glasses, could be nothing. Maybe it's a car. I don't know. But so far, people are liking what they're seeing for the most part. And really, I got to give a shout out to that person who pointed out the AI bingo card action. Not a lot of talk about that for Apple.
Dan, isn't that so Apple, though? Apple right now, especially under Tim Cook for years, has always had this ethos of, do we really need to be the first mover, or can we let the market move our ambitions for us as well? And what I mean by that is you won't see them be the first to put out a foldable phone. They're going to see if the market responds to somebody else's folding phone, and then they're going to decide, okay, the market wants it. Let's do something even better. And so it sounds like they're going to stay true to themselves when it comes to generative AI as well, or at least not put all their cards on the table right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, Google just showed off their folding phone. I don't see Apple doing it.
No, they don't need to.
No,
they have their crown jewel. The iPhone is back, and that's all they need, honestly.
All right. Well, all we needed was these very ceremonious 12 minutes here to talk about Apple. Appreciate everyone listening in, watching after the call with us here on Yahoo Finance. We got yours truly, Brad Smith, Diane King Hall, and Dan Howley, our tech DH, all watching to see what Apple shares do as we get closer to tomorrow. You can tune in to more coverage tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time. We've got more AAPL. See you.